Hello and welcome to Education Vision. My name is Hamza. Today we are going to be talking about the writing section's first task, summarize written text. So summarize written text is the first task of your writing section, and in this section you have a passage given to you. That passage could be one big passage, it could have multiple paragraphs in it. We have to extract main ideas and in the box given formulate our summary. So before we go into any further details, let us have a look at the scoring guide of Pearson. What does Pearson say about this specific task and its scoring? So summarize written text is, as I said, the first part of your your writing section. And there are several components which are marking it. The first one is form. Form, it refers to writing your summary in one sentence. Meaning, in summarized written text, you need only one full stop at the end of the whole sentence. So your summary should be in one sentence, not multiple sentences. One full stop at the end. You get 0 marks if you have not written one complete sentence, or if you have written less than 5 words or more than 75 words, or if your summary is written in all capital letters, you get a 0 for your form. The second aspect of scoring is content. So content, you get a full score, that is 2 marks if you provide a good summary of all the text, all relevant aspects are mentioned. And you get 0 marks if you write something completely off topic from the passage which is given to you. Grammar, 2 marks. So if you have no grammatical mistake, you get 2 marks. If you have one grammatical mistake, 1 mark you lose, and if you have a lot of grammatical mistakes, more than one, you get 0 for grammar. Vocabulary is basically the words or the keywords which are taken from the passage. If you are using those keywords inside your summary, that is constituted as vocabulary and you get a full score for that. And 0 marks for vocabulary means that you're not using those words from the passage. So after having a look at the scoring, let us have a look at the interface of this question. How does this question look like? And this is what the interface of this question is. So we have a passage given. There is a box given where we have to type down our summary. The word count is given at the bottom left side and on the bottom right side, and sometimes on the top right side the timer is given. So as soon as you come to this task, you can see the timer, it starts running straight away. And these 3 buttons of cut, copy, paste, these are not for the passage that you have. You cannot highlight anything from the passage, right click, copy, paste. Shortcut keys of copy paste is not allowed or it cannot be used here. So we have to be very careful about this thing. Now let us talk about the strategies, the tips and tricks of summarized written text. So before I explain these strategies, these tips and tricks, it's just a reminder to all of you that when we are aiming to get a very high score in writing, the focus has to be on note taking in the listening section, because summarize spoken text, fill in the blanks listening, write from dictation, they are contributing a very high score to your writing score. So just keep that point in mind and let's carry on with summarize written text. So in summarized written text, we get 1 or 2 passages in the exam. Each passage has a time allocation of 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, the computer prompts a message that click next to move to the next question. We have a word limit of 5 to 75 words, which we earlier even talked. If your summary is less than 5 words or more than 75 words, you get a 0 for your form. And if form is 0, the overall score is 0. So if you have written 76 words and it's a perfect summary, you will still receive for that question an overall 0. So be very careful about form. If we look at the scoring, this task is giving approximately 8 marks for writing and approximately 7 marks for reading. How we have to construct our summary, it should be a 1-sentence summary with 1 full stop at the end, which is also part of your form. Now, how many main ideas do we need? We need 3 main ideas from the passage. Some people say that you need 2 ideas, some talk of a bit more, but the ideal number of main ideas should be 3. So that if one of your ideas is not even the main idea, you still have 2 ideas which can still give you a full score. So always write 3 main ideas. Another point which is very important is point number 7. Questions are never considered to be main ideas. Questions are not main ideas. So if you see a sentence in the passage which has a question mark, don't bother to even read it. It is not content. It will not help you in your summary. And point number 8 is something very important, and it will make your life very easy. When we are reading the passage and we identify a sentence as the main idea, don't write it in your own words. Type it down word to word exactly the same. This not only allows you to reduce your errors of expression and grammar, but this also ensures that you're getting all the information of that main idea and you will never go wrong with it. Now, after going through these 8 points, the most important thing is, how do we get our main ideas and how do we write our summary? So the most important thing is how to identify main ideas. There are 2 methodologies that we have chosen to teach you, and these 2 work 100% of the times in the actual exam as well. So the first method is discourse markers contrast. Discourse markers by definition mean connecting words, and discourse markers contrast means contrasting connecting words. Point number 1 that I have mentioned over here is that discourse markers are connectors and we cannot write 2 connecting words together. That is grammatically invalid. I cannot write and, moreover, but, furthermore together. If I write 2 connecting words together, that is grammatically invalid. I will not receive a score and I will lose marks for grammar. So be very careful about it. Now the second part is, how do discourse markers contrast help me for identifying main ideas? These words that you can see in green, but, however, although, though, in spite of, despite of, by contrast, on the other hand. These are the words which, if I see any one of them in a sentence, whether, for example, this word however, if I see the word however at the start of the sentence, at the middle of the sentence, at the end of the sentence, the position of this word does not matter. As long as it is present, I will get a full score for that sentence. That is 100% my main idea. So these words in green, what I have highlighted, you have to memorize them by heart and it will make your life a lot easier. This is the first way how to identify main ideas. Let us have a look at the second way. And the second way is basically known as speech markers. What are speech markers? Let us make this simple and easy to understand. Speech markers are simply words which technically are known as adjectives or adverbs. But in simple words, these are those words which will be helping you to enhance the importance of a sentence. Let's take a very simple example. Let's say if your friend calls you and says, let's have dinner at a restaurant. Let's have dinner at a restaurant. So you will be like, okay, probably this, that restaurant. But if your friend uses these words, let's have dinner at the cheapest restaurant. Now, when the word cheapest would be said, that would immediately get your attention. Like, oh, okay, so the cheapest we are looking at. Or another example, if you're sharing your address with some friend who's trying to locate you, and if you say to them, I'm standing in front of a building. I am standing in front of a building. So there are a lot of buildings. Your friend would be, okay, which building? But if you say, I am standing in front of the tallest building. I am standing in front of the highest building. I am standing in front of the oldest building. I am standing in front of the newest building. Oldest, newest, highest, tallest. These are words which are speech markers and they are just enhancing the importance of the sentence. Let's take another example. There are students in a class. There are students in a class. And another sentence is, there are hard-working students in a class. Now, when the word hard-working comes, we are defining the quality of the students, which is enhancing the importance. Or if I say, there are young students in the class. There are old students in the class. Young, old are also classified as speech markers. And these are some of the examples that I have written down over here. At the end, you can see some words which are mentioned. Some of the speech markers like important, major, bright, dull. Now, these words which I have highlighted, these are timing. Never look at a sentence and see that if there is any date mentioned, 1560, 1780, don't look at the dates and straight away say that, okay, this sentence is now important. Words like first, last, initially, starting, beginning, these are considered to be important sentences. Important words which would make the sentence a lot more important. Let us now have a look at the example. Let's take a passage. Let's see how we would be applying this concept over there. So we would be just looking at one of the examples over here and we would be discussing it in detail. So when we have a look at this example, which is now in front of you. So this is a passage and we'll go through this passage, identify the main ideas, and then what we will do is we will be drafting a summary at the end of this. So the first passage, I will read it and we will discuss every sentence in detail. Orville and Wilbur Wright were brothers living in Dayton, Ohio. This sentence is not going to be classified as my main idea. Because if this sentence would have had Orville and Wilbur Wright were rich brothers living in Dayton, Ohio, poor brothers living in Dayton, Ohio, then only I would be able to take this as my main idea. Since none of these words are mentioned, so this is not going to be my main idea. The next sentence is, the two had started making bicycles during the 1890s and had a successful small business selling their Wright specials for $18 each, $475 in today's green. So over here, the speech markers that we have would be the word started, start, first, initial, that's important. And what sort of a business it is successful. It is small. Now remember, we need only one speech marker in a sentence, one speech marker or one discourse marker to make that sentence my main idea. So this is the first main idea we have. This experience with building light, strong machines would prove valuable in the coming years after the brothers' interest turned to flight. So what is this talking about? What sort of machines we have? We have light, we have strong machines. And the word valuable. So now I have two main ideas with me. Next sentence. Others in the United States were also developing aircraft at the time the Wright brothers started turning their curiosities skyward. So in this sentence, in regards to timing, the word started is going to be my main idea. Now, if I look at the total number of main ideas that I already have 3 main ideas, which means that in the exam, I don't need to read the remaining part of the passage. I have 3 ideas. I know they're 100% going to give me a full score irrespective. However, this is to just bring your attention to one point, that when you go in the exam and when you have this question of summarize written text, never start reading the whole passage, understanding, and then go back again. You would be wasting time. Read a sentence, speech discourse marker. If it is there, choose it. If you feel confused about a sentence, leave it. Carrying on. Samuel Langley had flown an unmanned steam-powered aircraft in 1896. I would not choose anything from here. If you would want, so what sort of an aircraft it is unmanned steam-powered. You could choose it, but this is just my preference that I would not choose it. I would only choose that sentence when I'm 100% sure. Next sentence. Octave Shont and others were flying gliders near Chicago late in the decade as well. Again, nothing is important over here. Next, but it wasn't until the Wright brothers started working on the matter that the flying problem would finally be solved. So over here, the word but, it is a contrasting connecting word or discourse marker contrast. So but, the word started, problem, and the word finally. So these are all these speech discourse markers mentioned here. Next, beginning in 1899, the brothers designed and built a series of gliders to test their various ideas on a flying machine. So the word beginning. Next, they constructed a wind tunnel that allowed them to test designs without having to build a full-size model. So what sort of model it is? It is full size. This is also my main idea. And the next is they even built their own gasoline-powered motor for their aircraft. So what sort of motor? Again, I wouldn't really choose it, but if you'd say gasoline-powered, that's not going to be wrong. Again, it's just my preference. I would not choose it. So the point is that when you're reading the sentences, only those sentences where you are comfortable, choose them as the main idea. If you're not comfortable, do not choose it. Okay. Now let us draft our summary. Let us write our summary over here. So I will put it over here, summary, and I will show you how we can write it. So the first main idea, I will write it down exactly as it is that we did choose. And the first connecting word would be the word and. Always choose the word and as the first connector. It is also the safest connector as well. And the next is the second idea that I will take. Remember, it has to be a one sentence summary, no full stops in between, and after and This T, I will make it small. 2 ideas done. Now I need my third idea. For the third idea, I would put another connector, comma, space, moreover, comma, space. So commas come before and after moreover. This would be my second connector. And what I would do is I would take my last idea that I did choose and I will type it over here. After moreover, again, others, O, I would make it small. Now, before I can say that this summary is perfect, this is excellent, let us just have a look at the start. The 2 had started. Always start your summary with a noun, ideally. It should make sense. Because here when I said the 2 had started, who are the 2? So what I would do is instead of the 2, I would put here Wright brothers. Now this summary is perfect. I have 3 ideas. They contain speech discourse markers and I have used 2 connectors which I am supposed to use. Now just before we say that okay, the lesson is over, I'm going to share one very important trick and tip with you. Let's say that this last idea, I don't choose it. Okay, so I have put moreover and I choose this sentence. I choose this sentence and this sentence, it is starting with a but. Now I know but is a contrasting connecting word, so this is a main idea. But also moreover and but cannot come together. It's grammatically invalid. So what I would do is I would delete the connector I did put from myself and I leave it like this. A comma comes before but. So I will leave it like this and now again I have a perfect summary. That's all for the lesson. Hopefully it was useful. Thank you.